Wednesday, 22:56, 21 seconds. The year 2024. 12 December the 25th. This is Christmas Day, Christmas night. One more hour until the next day. The next holiday is New Year's Eve. Anyway, this is a record for Brother Jason, and the information that the brother learned at the dad, father, and Brother Jason Christmas visit. And then also at the same time playing guitar. Getting kind of hot in here. It's 68 degrees. This wood stove is hot though. So the Sicily brother has been playing guitar for the past couple hours. Left the Dad and Jay place at 8 o'clock. And arrived here at 8:30, half-hour drive. Prepped things up, got the fire going, played with the cat, ate a couple candy bars, and grabbed the guitar and reminiscing with thoughts and body actions. So basically, since 9 o'clock, been playing this, have had this guitar in the hand. That's for 2 hours now. Just fumbling around and mulling through the thoughts while playing. Thinking on just mulling through and sorting everything and looking for all the revelations and things like that. Anyway, the big news that the brother learned is that Brother Jason ended up having severe ulcer holes in the stomach from alcohol, drinking lots of alcohol through the years. But he's had his colon removed from, more than likely from the alcohol. Colon was removed probably four years ago. It was just before Mother went down in 2000. July 2018, so probably a few months before that, maybe 6 months, but 2018. So say 2017 had the colon removed. More than likely, from the alcohol addiction. Anyway, so this time, here's 2024, on April the 1st, he laid down at bed at night and he felt this burning sensation up into the cavity. He went to visit the hospital, and they did all kinds of MRIs and stuff on him. They can't really figure out what was going on. And they had a bunch of people in line, so he had to wait in line, and then when they kind of figured out what was going on, he had to still wait in line in the hospital bed, wait in line. More emergencies kept coming up. It's kind of like getting to a traffic light or to a stop sign or to a crossing route, and just getting there, and all of a sudden traffic out of nowhere just comes to give all kinds of tests to test for patience and restfulness and all that. So finally the doctor figured out what was going on. He had a couple holes in one hole. He had holes in the stomach, or a couple holes, but that's what was leaked. That's what leaked out into the body cavity, and he could feel that. It was the acid in the stomach. And so the first doctor went in to open him up. He got a big giant scar here, right in here. It's about that wide. The reason it's that wide is because they had to open him up twice, because the first doctor didn't clean out all the stomach fluid. So he got infected after they sewed him up, after he fixed the hole in the stomach. So they had to open him up again, and he asked for a different doctor. He said it was an Oriental doctor. He said China. That was his word, China, doctor from China, and a Chinese doctor. This is America over here, country America. So the doctor, operated him on again, and Jason woke up with a black thing on his stomach, and the doctor said that's a vacuum pump to keep his cavity vacuumed, to keep it closed. So, because he had to undo staples, fresh staples, in order to keep them closed back up, to heal back up, and the way that he tied them back up again, he had to put a vacuum on them. So he was on hospice at home for a couple months on a vacuum with attendance from a lady. So, and this Sicily brother had no clue. Just found this out yesterday, last night, on last night's visit. Went there last night because the brother figured yesterday was Christmas, however it wasn't. But just showing up was such a surprise to brother Jason that all of a sudden he became, it gave him something to cling on to and to be able to laugh with and open up with it. Oh, you thought it was Christmas, and stuff like that. And so that put him in a chipper mood to want to have a nice discussion on things. But it wasn't until later on that evening. Brother was over there for 2 hours yesterday. Not even 2 hours, probably just an hour. But Dad had asked, how's Boob the cat? How's Boob the cat? And the brother said, well, she seems to be coming along. And then this Sicily brother gave the report on Boob that she was having the constipation thing, and turds and stuff like that were plugging up and coming out large. And Jason interjected, because Jason was out there too, listening. Jason just automatically interjected, and he says, yeah, I know, I have experience with that, because his colon, he said that was going on with him. And, and thinking on it later, alcohol dries out the body, and it's the same thing with dry kibble fed to cats. Lacking water, moisture water, to keep the turds moving through the colon. And so alcohol dries the body out. And it was drying out the colon, and more than likely. It's just a speculation. So Jason started interjecting that stuff. And that's when he opened up the whole can of worms and he said, yeah, I just went into the hospital because da-da-da. And the brother's thinking to him, and this Sicily brother's thinking to themselves, oh fuck, brother almost died. Brother Jason almost kicked the bucket. And this just in the previous videos, you know, with little guy the cat, you know, kind of committing suicide or looking for another home, crying on that video, and then all of a sudden, you know, just death thoughts came all of a sudden started coming in. Death thoughts. And the brother was thinking more or less, Dad. However, or you know, being there, it's more so Brother Jason. It's Brother Jason. And one has to keep in mind, another evidence piece has the capacity to be kept in mind, to speak more generally instead of inclusive of any particular individual or living organism, whatnot. Learning to speak more general, so that you know one doesn't. You know, there's less propensity for an offense to pop up, that one might be thinking that one's being singled out and talked upon and all that stuff. Using the ears to pump out that one note. So in getting to it, you know, more evidence here. This brother's private military on the lawful side. Private military on the lawful side. And tonight, as the Christmas progressed, Jason ended up coming out. Dad and I were out in the back porch talking, and I brought up the wood subject, you know, just sharing. You know, I chopped a lot of wood this year, and I was getting into, you know, talking on that. And then Jason interjected. He came out and he sat down and heard the conversation. He interjected, and it was turned into kind of a situation where the words that were coming out of Jason were such as, well, why didn't you just use the wood that we got here? You know, just out of the blue. And knowing how, you know, there's CIA mind control, and CIA knows how to electronically demon-possess people, a mind and a thought and a body, and electronic demon possession, and start talking through a thought and a body. So anyway, that's what started coming out of Jay. And then that got on to another subject, side subject tangent. Things started turning into tears for Jason. It got onto the road, you know, he started questioning, bringing questions to this Sicily brother, Brother Russell. Basically, how the hell do you get away with living with no fucking job in a house? You know, and how the hell did you get the house? Because this house is free and clear. You know, he said, you know, and you seem to, his thing was, you seem to be some type of wizard at this, living like this, some type of wizard. Like it was totally just like fucking awestruck. He could, not really awestruck, but he just couldn't wrap his, you know, get his head around, get a handle on it. How the fucking Russell be living, brother Russell be still living? Got a house, you know, and not a fucking care in the world, or, you know, I suppose, you know, he's got food and, you know, money for gas in the cars, insurance for the cars, and all that other stuff. You know, and so, you know, and as the brothers started to, this Sicily brother started to explain to him, but he still wasn't ready for an answer. He still, the conversation wanted to be in the dominant mode. Wanted to be in the dominant mode, and that's kind of, I can see where the alcohol starts to play into things, which ended up, you know, last night after Jason shared that he just, you know, had his whole insides, you know, ripped open and da-da-da-da-da. And when we finished the conversation, we both got up and, you know, a somewhat happy mood, you know, and, you know, just regular go inside the house. Cigarette time was over. It's cold out. It's winter time. And brother went in first. He kind of faced me, but then he went in first, and then I could smell the alcohol. You know, so, you know, the addiction's still there. So. Anyway, getting back to his question to me, he said, and it really got down to this. He says, "Do you have any fucking advice for me?" Because Jason said, he says, "I'm not going to be able to keep my fucking job probably." And he said, there was just a report from the boss that the chipper exploded and the company was operating on debt and they're about ready to call it quits. Because, you know, the company, they temporary small houses, tiny houses. They put together tiny houses for people, and then the people buy the tiny houses. They're kits, tiny house kits. So the people have to get the parts and then put them together. And so Jason's like, he says, "God, man, and he's got debts. He's got debts. That all his debts are to Dad, because he owes Dad, you know, money." You know, and Dad, and his story upon Dad in the situation is, Dad is just, he's either sink or swim. You know, that's his outlook on it, sink or swim. But at the same time, Jay says, I don't think Dad would put him on the street, though. And also he was also brought up the subject. He says, God, he can't figure out how Dad ends up getting all this money all the time. He just, because, he's got people in his immediate clan, his father and mother, or the father and mother that claimed to have given birth to him, they ended up passing on. They had a house, and there was an inheritance, and mother transitioned on, and her mother left an inheritance, and since how mother transitioned on, Dad ended up inherited her inheritance, and so he was all in a wonder, and he's asking me, he says, how the fuck are you living, brother? He can't figure out how this Sicily brother's living. And the first thing that brother could say, he says, well, first of all, Dad is private military. In the situation that I'm in, I know how to write up private military contracts. And I started explaining things to Jay, and Brother Jay, and he said, no, Dad wasn't in the Marines. And I started telling him, I said, this is what Mother told me, Jay. Jay, this is what Mother told me. Dad joined the Marines, but he got discharged because he memorized the eye chart to get in, and they found out he was blind in one eye. But when they discharged him from the Marines, the Air Force offered Dad a private contract, private military contract. And I told you, I said, who knows if it's true? I said, this is what Mother told this brother. And also, a while back, just a conversation that Dad and I had, this memory came up from fiddling with the guitar. This brother, sisterly brother, brought it up between the conversation. It came up, and flat out told Dad, from the information that this sisterly brother pretty much knows. This brother told Dad, said, Dad, because of that private contract, whether Dad knows it or not, and who knows the things that Dad knows, because he could say this, he could say that, and he could be under non-disclosure contracts too. If he signed a private contract, he could be under a non-disclosure contract, and he can't say anything legally. And if he does, the CIA is listening right in on him, because he's, they watch their club members. They got a watch on everyone. Everyone's tracked. And someone could disclose the contract out in the boonies where they don't think no one's listening, and they know because they're watching. And once that contract is disclosed, then things can kind of start going south for anyone that's on private military. South for the winter wiener wonderland. So if that's the case, Dad ain't gonna say shit, because that's just the way he is. He don't say shit, and that's the way it's been a lot throughout the whole life. Dad could be put training into learning how to not say shit, but he did tell Mother, which he considers the legal wife that he married, Mother Sharon. And Mother Sharon told this son. And so if Dad told Mother Sharon, and he was under a non-disclosure contract, in a way, those in high-level CIA government would say to themselves, well, that's just the way it is between a husband and a wife. Some things they get to share with their wives. There is some leeway. But some of the contracts are straight up, you don't even tell your wife. So, and then it goes from there, so. But even if they're told not to, and they tell their wives anyway, there's still leeway, because they know that the bond is strong between a husband and a wife. And it gets to that point sometimes. There's no really way to avoid it. For all kinds of circumstances that come up around it, and one can imagine all the things that could start happening. You better tell me the truth, or I'm going to divorce you and take half of everything you got. And the kids. All kinds of things can start to come up. So anyway, getting back to Jason, he's all in a quandary. How the hell do you live, brother? How the hell do you have this house? How the fuck is it free and clear? How do you get with Catholic Community Services and food stamps and all that, and get built electricity and all that shit? He says, you seem to be a whiz at all this stuff. However, this brother is not using Catholic Community Services right now, as far as paying electric bills and food stamps, because the brothers has money right now. Although the brother could go to the Catholic Community Services and get that assistance if the brother wanted, because there ain't that much money, and the only reason is because there ain't no job right now. That would be the main reason why. Ain't no job. And even if one had a job, Catholic Community Services, people in the Catholic Community Services still help those that aren't getting enough money for the job. Especially if they got, a husband or a wife and children or many children. Everything is figured into these situations. Anyway, so the main thing, Jason is thinking, how the hell do you live, brother? How do you have this house, And how come Dad keeps getting all these windfalls? And this first thing the brother said, and brother has brought up private military stuff before to Jay, but he's has a hard time with it, and a lot of it turns him off. But he asked, and he's in tears, he said he's feeling desperate. He said he can't figure. He said if he could only figure it out too, how the hell you live? Because he ain't got no house. He's living with Dad. He's a subcontractor. He's got a license. He had a business. He was interior. He's part of the Department of Interior at government level. That's Department of Interior. He knows how to put blinds in hotels. Okay, this gets all into the executive Trump levels with Air Force One. Remember, Dad's private military in Air Force One. Just keep this in mind. And Dad has surveillors and handlers, military handlers, that handle Dad and the family and the clan and the tribe. Of which this is a son, Jason is a son, Michelle's daughter, and mother is the wife. And there's animals, cats and dogs, and houses involved, trucks and cars, property. Okay. So brother emphasized, first off, Jay, Dad's private military. And I'm sharing with you the things that this Sicily brother knows. But keep in mind, it's just evidence to consider. Doesn't mean that it's absolutely true until it's absolutely clear and come out, and and there's disclosure. And we're talking all the way up to full public disclosure. Full public disclosure throughout the whole system, which the whole system might not be ready yet. It might just be ready, at least ready for little pieces like stuff being put on a video here today. Or being told to, this brother does radio out in the backyard, radio on the microphone at home. Because he's musical. The brother sings everything that he knows. It just naturally wants to come out. This brother ain't into disclosing stuff, keeping stuff hidden. In fact, the nickname from Dad that the brother found on a computer one day, the nickname for Russell, this was many years ago, saw the nickname for Russell. He had a nickname for all the children. The nickname for Russell was Rustel. That was part of his sarcastic, displeasure and the way that the eldest son, one of the traits that the eldest son, because it's considered a strong military trait to be able to shut one's mouth and keep it shut for the sake of, replace of with love, all kinds of situations that come up that deal with the societal situation between countries which involve leaders and militaries. Battles and wars, the whole thing. So here's this son that has this propensity to share shit. And there wasn't any real instinct in the young ages to stay zipped up. Zip. And no one taught the brother to be zipped up either. Although there might have been a formal training from age 1 to 3 that the brother has no memory, where the brother might have been traumatized to try to get this kid to shut up. Because there's reports that mother said that this brother was one hell of a dominating fucker. And this brother has no memory of being ever dominating, and it must have been from ages 1 to 3. This brother was just fucking, she says she could not socialize me. She had to keep me isolated at home because I would just dominate everyone out in society as a small little baby from 1 to 3. She didn't say 1 to 3, but those are the ages the brother has no memory. And just a couple memories at age 3. But the brother doesn't ever remember ever being so fucking dominating like that. None whatsoever. But that was the mother's report. So I say that because I might have been, you know, and I was, the whole clan's from Los Angeles, California, Hollywood, the heart center of that congressional axe, where all the politicians learn how to put on a big act and a show for the people. Yeah, born in Hollywood, California area, Los Angeles. The hub, the whole hub for television throughout the whole fucking, all the rest of the fucking nations came out of America. Hollywood, California, Los Angeles. And who knows, all the kind of, who knows family members, how this brother might have been passed around through tribe members, and who knows what the fuck happened with this brother, how this brother was raised. All kinds of trauma, magic and shit like that, Grove, Illuminati shit, all kinds of stuff going on. Friends, people in the neighborhoods, people start talking, such and such had a child, and good, then, you know, military's involved, we're surveillance, CIA, governments are involved, everything's put on surveillance. Oh shit, this little kid's starting to fucking share information. He looks like he's gonna be a fucking tell-all fucker. Uh-oh, we better see if we can shut this kid up, why he's the youngest, why he's young. And for some reason, it has not come out that way. Although there's another experiment side to the Vatican military also, and extraterrestrials and aliens. And that is, they also have an experimental breeding program to bring certain people up to be this way and to go through the hardest fucking test and still have that soul energy to not be beat down, boxed in, and shut the fuck up. And when they see that they finally got one that can't be shut up, and then they're starting to think, ah, good, this is going as planned. Because we were wanting someone like this to come along. Someone that can't be defeated, and someone that has the power and is connected with the energy and the power, the universal energy, to open the door for all living organisms. To have a public witness, door opening for all living organisms to be able to see. And then have all kinds of thoughts with it as evidence to consider now. Evidence to consider. So getting back to Jay, how in the fuck, I can't figure out how you live. And Dad, one fall after another, he's got fucking plenty of money. And Dad is, retired. He's got a wonderful retirement, Social Security, disability, and everything. Because it wasn't a military disability. It was just a regular, disability from working and walking at work and hard boots all day. His hips went out. So that was considered a disability. So he gets Social Security, disability, and retirement. Comfortable. Brother's wonderfully comfortable. And he has a talent for managing money. You know, he's supervisor, manager level. Worked his way up to second in command, and he was just about ready to take over the plant when he got forced into early retirement, because at one of the meetings, he told one of the ladies that was complaining about how the machine were working, he exclaimed, he said, "Bullshit." The lady said, "Oh, the machine, it's fucked up." Dad said, "Bullshit." And this was the first time they started letting women work in the plant he was managing. And so, you know, sometimes things happen from, you know, dealing in the, that's a military environment, all men. Women weren't allowed in the military. Women weren't allowed in the workforce in certain places for a long time. And that's how Dad grew up. When they started letting women in and the complaints started coming in at the employee meetings, Dad expressed himself being from the old school, an older man. He's, you know, he was 57 when he got let go. He'd been around the block. It's a boy's world out there. And when this girl was telling him some shit, he straight out told her, he said, "Bullshit." And that's when the new management, the younger managements come in and they see the older guys, they see them talking like this, then they say, "Uh-oh, well, we can't be bringing the women into the workforce like this. Women can't be treated like this." And so they offered him a nice retirement package. And Dad knows how to manage, including money. He hired and fired people. Okay, high-level management. And we're talking high-level military here now. Military, most corporations are run militarily. When one starts getting into the system and learning how the corporations and how lobbying functions in government, and you know, a lobbyist is just someone who's worked for a large corporations, and it's the large corporations that have learned to become so powerful, they buy off the politicians. And so the politicians jump into government, and they'll be in there for a few years, and they'll jump into a company and start managing running companies. They'll jump into government, they go back and forth. And this is how they keep control through government, through the corporate powers. It's called being a lobbyist. It's like dual citizenship. So anyway, Dad is part to that system. Older man, he's 81 years old today. You know, and Jason's wondering, how the fuck does Dad keep getting these money windfalls? And how the fuck does this brother, you know, living? Here Jason is, he's, you know, strung out on alcohol. And he said, the doctor said he's got cirrhosis of the liver. He's got 9% left in the liver. And after the surgery, Jason's body was having a hard time soaking up. The liver is supposed to soak up extra fluid in the body. And that wasn't happening, so he had to have a third thing to help him out. But they put him on medication to get that under control. They didn't open him up again. Medication to help soak up some of the excess excess liquid in the body, because he was getting liquid in the lungs. He tried to go back to work, but he was having a hard time breathing because he wasn't getting enough oxygen. So that was part of it too. But to the main point, Jason said, "Now how the fuck does Dad?" And that's what this Sicily brother, straight up, probably could be, if not at least one of them, if not but in a way, at the position and the things that this information this brother brings, flat out, the top level private law. Self-appointed. This is coming from the top private law, self-appointed, where no one has appointed this Sisley brother. This brother wrote the contracts up and put them in place with agreements from the people running the corporations and the military. Right here. Emerging into the public to share the information with the people. For the most part, straight the fuck up, under fucking cover. Hardly anybody knows who the fuck this fucker is except for just a few, the proud. and most of them are still wondering, who the fuck are you, and how the fuck are you still here and not fucking killed, missing, imprisoned, butt fucked by Bubba and all that other shit. So it ain't just Jason. You know, this could be something that many people are wondering. How the fuck are you still here, brother? We can't figure out how the fuck you're still here. And so flat out, when Jason asked, this brother's gonna say it again, Jay, Dad is private military. On the public side. Legal side. He's legal private military. And I told brother straight up, said, this brother is lawful private military. But this brother, Sisley brother, didn't get into and let him know that top dog fucker. And then kind of shortly after that conversation, Dad went inside and was flipping through the channels, and the movie Top Gun all of a sudden came on the television. And there was a certain scene where Tom Cruise is sitting before the commander, you know, the leader, and he's telling him, he says, you know, we're bringing you back, we're going to send you to Top Gun. He said, you're going to be a teacher. Okay, and you know, all these scenes were coming in, everything was set up just right, and keep in mind that Dad could be remote controlled too. And Dad could be half conscious too. Dad could be half fucking extraterrestrial or alien. All kinds of shit going on. But the brother's getting this stuff on the record. And in a way, it was a flattery kind of it could have been a flattery move and a distraction flattery move. Also at the same time, and a jurisdiction move. Also a flattery move to get jurisdiction, so that this brother, when he watched it, would sit there and think, because you got to keep in mind, this brother had just spoken to Jason, and we just both walked into the house, and Jay was happy. And this brother was happy. And Dad was out there, because remember earlier in the conversation, it was Dad and I that were out on the back porch, and this brother started talking about the wood subject. Then Jason came out, and then it turned into a Jay dominating the conversation thing. And Jay's wanting to know, how the fuck, Russell, are you living? And the brother started bringing up private military stuff and this and that. And then Dad finally quickly exited out for who knows, all kinds of different reasons. Brother could sit here and speculate all kinds of different reasons. You know, he didn't want to be involved with the conversation, or it could have been, you know, in even remote control, surveillance, CIA, extraterrestrials, aliens, Vatican, military, the whole fucking 9 yard, government, Air Force, executive branches, all kinds of shit. You know. Well, we're going to leave this one to you, Russell. You see how you can handle Jason. Hey, and when that Top Gun movie was on the television and Russell sat in the chair and he's sitting there watching Top Gun, Jay's in the chair and Dad's in the chair, you know, this flattery feeling came over. And this brother is being very wary to it. because their brother could sense there was a jurisdiction distraction there, and the jurisdiction distraction came across as though to be saturated into the scene where the commander told Top Gun, who's called Maverick, and Dad just bought a Maverick out there. It's fucking 400 horsepower Maverick sitting out in the fucking $10,000 Maverick sitting out in the yard. And Dad gave this brother a Maverick when he was 16. You know, I guess the brother's known as a Maverick. When the brother went to the military, because Mom took all the kids to see Top Gun, next thing you know, this brother joined the military, and it was the Navy, flying ships, aircraft carrier. This brother got staged to an aircraft carrier with aircraft, pilots, you know, Top Gun, all that shit. Okay, all these things, the clues and the pointers. So anyway, so getting back to the flattery, you know, diversion. When the commander told Tom Cruise, he says, man, you know, basically told him, you're such a wild fucking military captain, officer. You fucking just do things your own way. You know, like a Maverick, because he was named Maverick. That's the way Mavericks are. They don't abide by someone telling them what the fuck to do and telling them you can't do this and you can't do that. I mean, Mavericks are just, that's the way they are. They're referred to as Mavericks. The car called the Ford Maverick is called the Ford Maverick because this emblem on the car is the unbranded cattle. The unbranded cattle. But keep in mind, they're still considered cattle. And that was the rope that was being lured in. As that scene came across, the commander sitting there telling Tom Cruise acting, he says, because you've been such a wild fucker, but we're gonna still put you back in Top Gun after we, suspended you, demoted you and all that shit. And that was there to make me feel like I've been demoted, It's a jurisdiction play. Could be. But and the flattery and all that to get involved with it and think, oh, I'm being allowed to be back into the system here, as a way, although I'm private military, it was a way for me to think, oh, I bow to you. Thank you. Thank you that you're telling me that I get to be part of the system now. Right? No, that's not the way it goes. Private contracts are private contracts, self-appointed. It ain't, we kiss your ring, suck your dick. Or kiss someone's ring and suck someone's dick. Although there can be some play with that because of the progress that this brother's still going through, coming out fully from all that legal assumptive jurisdiction, there's still some play. So there's a lot of leeway. But the brother just brought the Tom Cruise thing up because, the brother went in and all of a sudden the brother went in, got something, went in and started cleaning the kitchen. And so now, who knows what's going on with Dad? Is this Dad's way of communicating silently? And here goes the alarm that just went off on that. Is Dad looking to communicate silently? Was he looking to communicate silently with the older son that just dealt with younger brother Jay and uplifted him and helped him, or because Jay was kind of happy after the conversation, as though Russell's considered respectfully now a private military captain that's reporting to the guard and all that, and Dad, I guess Dad could be the one behind the desk as the one in charge, the top military guy, could have been, it could have been a way of communicating that way. But, for some reason, the brother was kind of seeing through it, which the brother has been seeing through a lot of television shows through the years now. Learning this private maritime military stuff, how these television shows are used heavily for assumptive jurisdictions. especially to re-jurisdict, to get people to be so wrapped up in the scene to think, oh, I feel I'm identifying with the character on the screen. To identify, that's the whole thing. To identify with the character on the screen. It's the what's in your wallet thing. Are you my slave? Are you my cow? Although you might be a maverick cow, you're still my cow, right? See? To identify with the character. And it happens with many people. They'll be watching Hollywood movies and they'll be thinking, oh my God, that's the exact situation I'm in. Oh, that's just what I needed. I needed to hear that I'm allowed back in the system. And someone's looking over me and reassured me that, you know, I'm a good guy and we're going to make you a teacher now. As could be. All these different angles to think upon. But anyway, getting back to Jay now. Well, that's another thing too. Jay started bringing up the trust with Nana, and how Cindy, as executor to the trust, ended up swindling $9 million. $9 million in treasury bonds that Grandpa Henry. So, you know, another thing too, we're watching football, and it was the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, we lived in Kansas for 8 years. The Chiefs were the team, you know. And then the name of the Steelers quarterback is Russell. And then there was another running back with the Steelers called Henry. You know, and the names of the players correlate with all this assumptive jurisdiction and identity as these, because sports is manipulated too. All the sports players are robot controlled. One would have to study YouTube gematria videos and all the bets that are placed and all that stuff. All the players are electronically demon possessed. They're like little players on a game, and all the games are already prescribed an outcome and who's going to be the winner, and exactly how each player is going to play with every action, who's going to get injured. It's all programmed on a computer, and it's playing out. As it could be evidence to consider. So the brother has to scope the wood here. Put some more wood in the fire here. Putting more wood in the fire. This whole thing also gets into simulation and hologram, pre-programmed holograms, robotics, Trump, Biden, Kamala, Elon Musk, all the different players that are involved. Brother has to piss. Brother usually shuts the door when pissing. Never keep the fucking door unlocked while in the restroom pissing or shit. Never fucking ever. No matter how safe it might be. Unless one's got a trust group. And trust, you know, most trust groups aren't really trust groups. It's usually a whole lot of controlled trust. But they can at least keep the door open more than likely while they're shitting. Brothers feels like he needs to shit now. That might have been just a fart. No, feels like it wants to knock. Feels the turd knocking at the back door with the pressure. Start relieving the pressure on the penis, and then the ass pressure sometimes goes with it too. So brother's gonna have to shake the dick best as possible. Brother's gonna have to shake the dick over on the tub. So, you know, when Dad and I had the departing, we had the departing tonight. Dad and I had, you know, this time he went to bed at 8. I guess he's feeling less energy, or, you know, like I said, CIA control sign, some type of sign. But he's usually been going to bed at 9. And he was going to bed at 10, but then when Mother transitioned on, now it's 9. So, going to bed at 9 o'clock. So, this is the first time it happened at 8. There's all kinds of unspoken language there that speaks loudly that one can consider as evidence. So anyway, most of the time it's the departure. It's at the front door, and, you know, have the last words, a handshake or something, and there was this. You know, he was looking down at the floor, and it seems like he did that last time, as though he's not looking me in the eye the last couple visits, for all kind. It could be all kinds of different reasons, control, robot control, and all that shit. But anyway, that's just on the record as evidence to consider. But also, the football game just before the 8 o'clock, when he turned the television off and he said, "I'm going to bed." You know, he's always right. He keeps on a time schedule. He's like that. He's just totally fucking disciplined in that area. Always gets up at the same time. Always goes to bed at the same time. Has a nap in the day at the same time. Everything's regimented. That's straight up military training right there. Everything is regimented. Disciplined that way. But it was the Chiefs and the football game with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, and as a kid, the Pittsburgh Steelers was the greatest football team of all times as a kid living in Kansas, and it was the Dallas Cowboys. Pittsburgh Steelers, though seemed to be the shining one for the brother. You know, living in Kansas. And the Chiefs. So there's all these signs here. So anyway, so today's game was the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Chiefs. And there was another game that was playing with the Ravens and someone else, but it was the Christmas games. It was the Christmas game today. I guess it's getting close to the Super Bowl. And Beyonce came out and did the halftime show. So, and it was all African Americans. It was an all-out African American celebration. All out. So, And then there's some private things I could share on that. But some things are best left private for now. One could only speculate all the kinds of different things, you know, that come up. But anyway, getting back to the game. The game ended, and the way that the game ended tonight was all of a sudden there was a flag or some announcement. The referee got on. He said what he had to say, and then he said the game is over. And it was kind of like a surprise, you know. The brother's watching this, and he's fiddling with his guitar. He's got the guitar just lightly plucking. Has a guitar. He's sitting there in the chair watching, and it was an abrupt end. It was like, ooh, never heard that before. The official came at the end. I said, "Game's over." And that was that. And then shortly after that, Dad turned the television off, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to bed." So that could have been a psychological move if the game was pre-programmed in the Matrix with simulation and hologram, you know, as a communication and an assessment with this sisterly brother, Russell. You know, it could have been, well, we didn't like your response. We didn't like that you didn't get under our jurisdiction and identify with our Tom Cruise movie and all that. We didn't like that. So, you know what, Russell? The whole fucking game's over for you. Evidence to consider now. Because all these thoughts are floating in the air as evidence to consider whenever any circumstances and situation arises, and all the details with it. That's just one way of looking at it. You know, and all kinds of robot control that could be going on, electronic demon possession, or half alien, half extraterrestrial father. Until more and more is known and more is known, it's all just speculation and just evidence to consider. Could be this and could be that. And if so, share if. That would be a full audit. Share everything. Share all that everything could be. Share it securely and confidently. If one wanna. So all the poo-poo just came out, so now the brother's gonna wipe the ass. Ass is all wiped. Now put the Hisnia belt. Since how the ass is all wiped, one can have Hisnia belt training here again. Get in here, put this fucking belt on. The legs are all nice and muscular, but now that the fucking jungle rot on the fucking foot got re-inflamed, now the brother can't fucking ride the fucking bike out in the cold weather anymore. Gotta wait for the fucking jungle rot to fucking pout down and for summertime, hotter weather to come in, so that the brother can, I mean, these legs were just getting fucking huge. I never seen these fucking legs start getting so fucking big here lately, because the brother's eating a lot of fucking protein, meat, chicken, hamburgers, and going out on these hard fucking cycle bike rides to get the heart pumping and all that shit, because the brother was having palpitations. See, here's the turd at the bottom down there. Brother was having heart palpitations, so brother's thinking, oh shit, never ever seen these fucking legs start getting so fucking big. These fucking fuckers are just fucking growing. Just fucking growing. The brother's like enjoying it. Just like, oh my God, this is nice. Because the brother saw this one YouTube video, says one of the keys to health for the body is strongly centered around the leg strength. The leg strength. That video, brother saw that video and started thinking, wow, there could be something to that. And so with the information from that video, the brother was really inspired to really get on out there and start getting these legs a good workout. Although the brothers had been having problems with fucking leg cramps, body cramps all over. And probably more than likely because the arteries are somewhat clogged up, kind of clogged up. So brother needs to put this thing, be back. So, Now keep in mind, this all could be some type of simulation or hologram. It's just, and then there are those that will come out and they'll say, yeah, it is a simulation or hologram, but they're wanting to twist everything and use it as a manipulation. And they provide fake evidence. Fake evidence. So, it's fucking television. It's not fucking. Gotta plug it in more. Wasn't plugged in all the way. There it is. Now it's on television. Now it's on the big screen. See, this is the big screen here. It's not the military camera screen. It's nothing but a landing strip. A vaginal fucking pussy hair, a landing strip, a strip of pussy hair. It goes sideways. It's just a strip in the middle of the. So, and these are all the thoughts that the brother has been mulling over playing this guitar for the last 2 hours, before this video was recorded. Now it's been 3 hours. It's going on 12 o'clock. So we'll just call it that if there's a part two, because there might be a trade going on here.